She returned a barking dog to its owner. But the microchip said otherwise. The street had learned a new noise. Every night at 9:17, as if someone flicked a switch, a cinnamon-colored mutt would plant himself in front of the corner duplex and bark. Not frantic, not mean. 3 barks, a pause, 3 more. Then silence. Then again. For 10 minutes like a metronome with a message. Neighbors complained in clusters. Text threads lit up. Whose dog is that? Make it stop. Some people shouldn't have pets. Riley Monroe, who carried spare leashes the way some people carry pens, watched from her stoop with a cup of tea and a feeling she couldn't name. The dog's tag flashed in the streetlight when he turned. Moose, it said in a hopeful font. On the 4th night, Riley crossed the street with a pocket full of rotisserie chicken and manners. Hey, Moose, she said, soft so the block wouldn't judge. He took the chicken like a gentleman, thawed a little, and then barked at the door again. Same 3 notes, same pause. Eyes not leaving the peeling paint. The porch light snapped on. The door opened a hand's width. A man in a gray hoodie glared out. You feeding my dog? Just keeping him from swallowing a complaint, Riley said, forcing a smile. Is he yours? He's been out here every night. He likes the air, the man snapped. Mind your business. He pulled the leash from Riley's hand, hauled Moose inside, and shut the door with the finality of a book slammed closed. The next night, the dog was back at 9:17, barking his 3-beat plea. Riley's chest did the small, angry flutter it does when a simple thing isn't. She snapped a photo of the tag, and because her grandmother had taught her to assume kindness first and verify second, she texted the number. Hi, your dog keeps coming outside barking at your door at night. Everything okay? No reply. By the 7th night, the neighborhood group chat had ossified into camps. Call animal control, leave it alone. This is why we can't have nice things. Riley made a decision that felt like both. Neither, and the only one she could live with. She knocked on the blue door at noon. Light, work hours, no excuses for surprises. The man opened, hoodie again, eyes at a distance. What now? Hi, Riley said, breath even. I'm sorry to bug you. Moose keeps barking at your door every night. I want to make sure he's okay and make sure you're okay. If you'd like, I can take him to the vet for a quick scan and wellness check. Free, no pressure. Why would he need a vet? The man's smile didn't reach anything useful. He's fine. Moose slipped between the man's knees like a word that refuses to be unsaid and pressed his head into Riley's stomach. He did not look at the man. He leaned into Riley the way a magnet finds north. Look, the man said, anger coming in like weather. People mind their pets. You mind yours. Riley tilted her head. He's chipped, right? If he ever got lost. He's chipped, the man barked. He's registered to me. Great, Riley said. I actually volunteer with Sunny Paw's Rescue. We can scan chips when we find dogs, reunite them with owners. Easy. His jaw worked. For a flash, something like fear crossed his face and was gone. He doesn't need scanning. Okay. Riley crouched and clipped a spare leash to Moose's collar anyway, because good trouble sometimes wears a carabiner. Thing is, she said mildly, he walked to my door, and the county says if a found dog has both a tag and a chip, we have to check that they match. Keeps mistakes from happening. Saves you grief if the tag's wrong. It was a bluff dressed as policy. It worked. The man's cheeks went blotchy. Fine, he spat. Scan him and bring him back. I will, Riley said, perfectly truthful about the first half. Sunny Paw's storefront clinic smelled like peanut butter and disinfectant. Maya, the vet tech with a calm voice and tattoos of daisies winding up one arm, met them with the wand. How'd you get roped into this one? She asked, smiling at Moose and ignoring the way Riley's shoulders sat too high. Neighborhood drama, Riley said. Tag says Moose, blue duplex, number on the back. Owner says he's chipped to him. Maya stroked Moose's ear. Let's see what the database says. She passed the scanner over Moose's shoulders. Beep, number. She typed with fingers that had done this 100 times. The screen populated. She blinked. Once, slow. Name, Riley asked, trying to read upside down. Maya's voice went careful. Registered name, Buddy. Owner of record, Lena Vasquez. Address, Oak Ridge Apartments, number 3B. Note on file, reported stolen 2 months ago. Riley's lungs forgot the choreography. Stolen, Maya scrolled. Lena filed a police report and flagged the microchip. Says her ex took the dog during a fight, then ghosted. The ex's last name is Rennick. Rennick, Riley repeated, the syllables hitting her molars like grit. That's the blue duplex. They looked at Moose. Buddy, who was panted out calm now, eyes on both women like he'd been carrying this sentence too long. Maya chewed her lip. We follow the note, she said, decisive. Call animal control. They coordinate with PD on flagged chips. Officer Hannah Cole arrived with the scanner she never left home without, and the tone kind people use when rooms are about to change shape. She confirmed the number, printed the record, and made the calls. Officer Patel from patrol rolled up 5 minutes later, body cam already blinking because flagged chip disputes turned messy in a hurry. Let's do this clean, Hannah said. Dog stays with us until we verify the humans. They walked the block with Moose at heel. Riley's heart did a rushing thing that had nothing to do with stairs. At the blue duplex, Patel knocked, announced, and braced. The man in the gray hoodie opened, went pale at the uniforms, and then tried to turn his anger into a shield. That's my dog, he said. She stole him. Sir, Patel said evenly, the microchip is registered to Elena Vasquez. There's a theft report attached. You'll have a chance to talk, but the dog is being held pending verification. He's mine, the man insisted. I got him from my girlfriend. Gifts don't get returned. Hannah's voice didn't change. That's not how property law works, she said. And living animals aren't property you can steal and keep because you rename them. He reached for the leash. Moose stepped behind Riley's legs. Patel's hand rose. Don't, he said, calm turned steel. The man backed off and made a noise about lawyers and rights and women who don't know their place. Patel took a report like it was a brick being added to a wall. Back at Sunny Paws, Hannah called the number on the microchip record. A woman answered on the second ring, her voice threaded with hope and caution. This is Lena. Ms. Vasquez, Hannah said, this is animal control. We believe we have your dog. Silence. Then a sound like a breath dropping everything it carried. Is Buddy? He's safe, Hannah said. Can you come down? She arrived in 15 minutes in a sweatshirt with paint on the sleeves and eyes that had been waking up looking for something for 60 nights. She walked into the clinic, saw the dog at the end of the hall, covered her mouth, and fell to her knees without meaning to. Buddy, she said, and the dog made a noise none of them had heard yet, a cross between a bark and a sob, and launched. He collided with Lena and then calibrated, pressing his head to her ribs, sniffing her hair, checking the catalog of smells that make up home. Riley pretended to adjust a poster about flea prevention so she wouldn't cry in a way that would make Moosey Buddy worry. Hannah gave them a minute. Then she took Lena's ID, printed the report for her signature, and said, We'll still need a formal statement. There may be a no-contact order involved if you want one. Lena nodded into Buddy's neck. I do. They sat at the little break table with a box of Adoption Day biscuits crammed into a coffee mug and did paperwork that turned the word stolen into return. In the margin of the report, Lena's hand hovered and then committed. He barked at the door every night at 9. He was trying to tell someone where I was. Why 9? Riley asked, half to her, half to Buddy. Lena wiped her nose and laughed, a little watery. I FaceTimed him every night at 9 when I had to go on night shifts. He knows the time. Riley pictured the bench, the blue door, the 3 barks, the pause. Buddy hadn't been being a nuisance. He'd been keeping the appointment the only way he knew how. Hannah's radio crackled. Patel to Cole. Copy. We've got Mr. Rennick attempting to claim ownership. He's demanding proof. Hannah rolled her eyes and keyed the mic. We have proof. Microchip, vet records, licensing. Tell him to take it up in civil court. Dog is returned to registered owner. She clicked off and looked at Lena. We can have a patrol car follow you home if you're worried. I am, Lena said, not pretending anything. But I'm more okay than I was an hour ago. Riley walked them to the door. On the way, she stopped at the little rack of tags and picked up a bone-shaped one. On me, she said. She engraved it at the desk and held it up to the light. Buddy, Lena. Call if found. She handed it over. For next time, that isn't. On the sidewalk, Lena turned. I can't repay you, she started. You already did, Riley said, scratching Buddy's ear. You gave me the best ending this block has seen in months. 2 weeks later, the blue duplex had a for rent sign. A notice on the door said eviction in official type. People would argue about that in long threads too. Riley didn't. She had a new noise to listen for. On a Thursday at 9 p.m., as if lungs remembered a second life, her phone buzzed with a FaceTime. Lena on one side of the screen, Buddy on the other, head tilted, ears up. Thought you might want to hear the quiet, Lena said, smiling. In the background, a clock clicked over to 9:17, and Buddy thumped his tail twice, then settled with a sigh. The next month, the block threw its version of a party. Lemonade on stoops, kids chalking dogs on the asphalt, a folding table with mismatched cookies. Hannah from Animal Control brought microchip vouchers and a wand to scan for fun. Maya the tech brought nail clippers in a jar of peanut butter. Officer Patel dropped by in uniform and left with paw prints on his trousers. Riley hung a small metal sign on the streetlight where Moose, no, Buddy, had kept time. If a dog insists, listen. If a chip speaks, believe it. Underneath in Sharpie, someone added, appointments kept nightly at 9. Sometimes the owner isn't the person with the loudest voice, the prettiest tag, or the key to the door. Sometimes the truth is a 15-digit number under a dog's skin, a name spoken the old way, a routine that refuses to die. Sometimes a barking dog isn't a nuisance. He's a message on repeat, waiting for someone to answer. If this story made you check your pet's chip and your heartbeat, like and share it. Subscribe to Next Kindness, where the next thing that happens is grace.